Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right. Is Saban losing the magic? I certainly hope not. That's the last thing we want to have happen. Georgia just got the #1 quarterback in the country committed for 2024. Of course, our guy Josh Heupel got the #1 quarterback last year, 2023, which was Nico. And we picked up Jake Merklinger, who I think could be really good. And in 2025, I think we're going to get George McIntyre, who's the #1 quarterback in the country, again.
And I met the President of the United States again.
Yep, Josh just keeps getting #1 quarterbacks. I feel good about it. George McIntyre's out of Tennessee, and he seems to really love the Vols. Now, Cutter Boley's going to be committing fairly soon. He's leaning towards Kentucky, I think. If not for George McIntyre, we'd probably be getting him. But like I say, McIntyre's probably coming here. We'll talk more about that at some point. But this is very interesting to see Georgia get the #1 quarterback in the country. That's typically what Saban does. Now, look, I'm not ripping on Saban. The guy had a great recruiting class last year. I mean, he picked up a ton. He needed to. He had a ton of players transfer out. I mean, a bunch. They're actually one of the youngest teams in the country, if you can believe that. So even though they're loaded with talent, a lot of them are really young. And here you see it. Dylan Raiola commits again, this time to Georgia. He originally committed to Ohio State, I believe. And he's 6'3", 220. He's a big dude. He's a lot bigger than Nico. And I watched a bunch of his highlights. He throws the ball really well. He's more of a pocket passer. Nico is a lot more elusive and quick, but, 40 pounds difference as well. He looks like he's going to be a good quarterback, this Dylan fella. I think he'll be a strong quarterback. He's not real elusive. Now, he does have the ability to be mobile, but he's not terribly mobile. He's not going to be anything like a Bryce Young was. I mean, there's very few Bryce Youngs out there, especially at 5'10". But, I think he'll suit Georgia just fine. I think Georgia wants more of a pocket passer anyway. That's sort of the offense they want. They want to run the ball a lot, control the clock, and let the defense win. They're old school, very much so. And I think that's one of the reasons why Saban's actually trying to go back to that. He got rid of his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator because in Alabama, when you have 2 losses in 1 year, that's heresy. Everybody has to be fired immediately. I'm surprised he kept some of the players on the team. Yeah, should have just canned them all. 2 losses. Imagine that, how that felt. Poor guy. Anyway, he may be losing some. He's losing some of his magic when it comes to getting quarterbacks, there's no doubt. And Georgia got him over Nebraska, USC, and, of course, Ohio State, where he was originally at. And he's throwing, he threw for 3,300 yards, 32 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So, it's a little bit – I don't like Georgia getting them, but, it's going to happen. When you win 2 national titles, you're going to get what you want. And Georgia's got Coach Bobo as their offensive coordinator, and they lost Todd Monken. He went back to the NFL. And I'm going to tell you something. They're going to miss Monken. I'll just promise you that. Todd Monken's the best offensive coordinator Georgia's ever had. He's fantastic. And Bobo's an average coordinator. He's okay. He's not bad, but he's not Todd Monken level. I can promise you that. They're going to have some issues with their offense. You can pretty much count on that. And getting back to Alabama, when you look at the quarterbacks they've had, here's the top 6 they've had, and they've all been recent. Greg McElroy, A.J. McCarron, those were really good management-type guys. Jalen Hurts, who wound up losing his job to Tua, who was fantastic. That guy played unbelievable in college. Mac Jones, and then, of course, Bryce Young. So they're very used to having really good quarterback play. And what they've got this year, it doesn't look so good. That Jalen Milroe is a runner. He's not really a quarterback. I think he ought to move to probably safety or wide receiver. Now, doesn't mean he can't be a decent quarterback. It's just he's not going to be the level they're used to because his arm's not there. He's got just a very average arm. But he's a great runner. I'll give him that. And then they've got Ty Simpson from he was at Tennessee, and he looked okay in the spring game, but not that good. And he may have had an injury or 2 or something going on with him. But it got him so upset that they went and got the backup quarterback at Notre Dame that got beat by Marshall. Now, Tyler Buckner's got some skills. I'm not saying he's not talented, but he's loose with that football, and he will throw a pick 6 like that and get you in a lot of trouble real quick. They're actually lucky they didn't lose to South Carolina in that bowl game. They threw 2 pick 6s. But Buckner is a pretty talented dude, but he's not anywhere near the level of those last 6 right there at all. And I think Alabama's in for a rude awakening at quarterback, because last year, had they not had Bryce Young, we would have slaughtered them up in Neyland. We'd have won by 30 points. It would have been ridiculous. Bryce Young kept them in that ball game, and they would have lost 4 games last year, not 2. They'd have fired the water boy over that. I don't know what they'd do if they lost 4. They might get rid of Saban. Who knows? They wouldn't know how to handle themselves. So I don't know what's going on with Saban. You know, it may just be that he's getting beat by his own game with Kirby Smart using his old way of coaching football against him, which is hard defense, running the ball and protecting it. And then you've got Josh Heupel that's just thrown a whole monkey wrench into his system, showing up with this offense that's just amazing, or as some people call it, a gimmick. It's a heck of a gimmick. 7 years of success. I think once you reach a certain number of years of great success, gimmick's probably not the right word for it, but that's all right. They want to keep saying that. I'd rather they say that. I want that in their head. That way they never really try to emulate it or try to do anything about it. They'll just, oh, well, it's a gimmick. It'll go away at some point. No, it won't. Next 10 years is going to be fascinating. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's be able to continue to cover the Vols and all our opponents, the SEC. I even covered the ACC today. And if you've not subscribed, it's right here on your right, my left. Just boom, that's all you got to do. A little smack of that button. It's not going to hurt you. Boop. And right over here's my most recent video, and YouTube thinks you'll love that. That algorithm knows everything, doesn't it? Right. Anyway, we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.